Hey, what's going on, everybody? You know how we get into it, so let's just go. Apologize for the hair getting my cut soon. But this video is entitled The Modern Holy Wars. And this is really important. I mean, if y'all listen to a video, listen to this one, because I think I just like had a kind of epiphany over linking all of these issues. And in short, we are fighting the modern day crusades, the modern day holy wars. All of this shit is wrapped up into medieval ambitions of Europe. And let's just get into it. So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the holy wars or the crusades. So, just Google why were the crusades fought. So the Crusades were basically as Europe was getting out of their dark ages, and like one of the first popes ordered attacks. So we all know that Europe during that time allegedly was trying to spread Christianity, which we all know wasn't about Christianity. It was about conquering, it was about getting spoils and slaves and gold and resources, right? But what they wanted to do, which is what we all know, they wanted to cloak their greedy expeditions in the name of God, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like to make it holy. And we know they did this for everywhere, right? We know they did it in Africa with stealing all the shit in slavery. We know they did it in, the Americas with the stealing and genocides and everything. We know this. But this is also what they were trying to do in the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? It's like, which is like why we have so much turmoil in the Middle East right now. But the only thing is that it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so that's the only issue. Like it worked in Africa, it worked in the Americas, but it didn't work in the Middle East, which is why we have all this global shit happening right now. It's literally because Europe still wants to capture the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? And they're still fighting these fake ass holy wars in the name of Jesus, which has nothing to do with Jesus. It's all about their greed and all about that shit. Like their whole issue with Islam is literally because they exist. They exist. The reason the Holy Wars they had a problem is because like they just got Christianity was brand new in Europe, right? Christianity was brand new in Europe, and they were really excited about it. You know what I'm saying? But they knew that Muslims were the ones that lived in the Holy Land, right? Muslims had access to all the Holy Land, right? What's modern day Israel, Syria, Saudi Arabia, all these countries that really weren't in existence back then because they were invented later after World War II, or World War One rather. They were all controlled by Muslims. And the Europeans didn't like that. And they knew that not only were they the historical places of the world, but they were vastly wealthy. And they didn't like that. Also, they didn't like the fact that the people in the Bible were obviously black and brown. Because how could you, they were, like, so the Pope, right? Think about this. The Pope claims that he's God on earth, right? He's like the closest thing, but he's pasty white, right? And all the images in the Bible, you know what I'm saying? They want to change him to white, right? How could they do that if the Holy Lands were occupied by black and brown people? You know what I'm saying? It's like, so, and we all know that they changed all the images in the Bible, and they even tried to, claim that they had bloodline of Jesus, right? Like, look it up. How could they do that if all the depictions in the Bible, all the people in the Holy Land were black and brown? So there was a huge motivating factor, racist motivating factor to try and make access to the Middle East for white people. And so they engaged in holy wars. They attacked. Muslims didn't do shit. You know what I'm saying? I was like, once again, white people attacked for their greedy purposes and forged this holy war. And now we're still in it today. Have you ever thought, like, why is Islam just looked at weird? I mean, I know growing up in America, and this may be a different experience for you, like, I was always taught that, like, Islam was weird, and Islam, like, kind of inherently didn't fuck with Christianity, and that, like, if they ever took power over here, that, like, we wouldn't have freedom, and they don't like women, and, like, all these things. Like, it was just, like, negative. It wasn't just neutral. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was negative. And today, like, they have Muslim bans and like Muslim terrorism and all this stuff. It's just like kind of like and it's been kind of roped like they hate us. Like we've done nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? I was like, but they just hate Christians' way of life. They just don't want us to exist. They hate our freedom. They want to take us over. And like, that's just what I was taught, just in a basic way, and not really understanding any of the history, any of the things about how the Middle East came to be and why, if there were aggressions, why they would be. be. I was just taught that Christians were always right and we just love and true and honor. And that shit was just like not true. Like the initial original sin was the Crusades, right? You know what I'm saying? And that Europe forever has been trying to get into the Middle East, and they just couldn't because Muslims in the Middle East were too fortified, right? They were able to defend against them, and they didn't stop. Right? It was just a constant onslaught of trying to attack and take over the Middle East. So from the Crusades, various battles throughout that period in time, World War I, World War II, you know what I'm saying? Like into all these incursions in the Middle East. You know, there was the first Iraq war, there was the Iraq-Iran war, there was wars in Syria, wars in Lebanon, wars in Jordan. You know what I'm saying? There was Desert Storm 1, Desert Storm 2, this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like there's been a constant barrage of European aggression into the Middle East. And it's just like, why? It's just because they exist. They want access. They want the oil, they want the resources, and they want access to those holy lands. And they will do anything to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's literally why we're in danger right now. We are fighting still these fucking holy wars where they just want those people not to exist. And what did they do? At World War II, they got their wish. They displanted all the people from the most holy land and put Jewish people there. And my thing is, Jewish people are being used. To me, we don't, America doesn't actually care. To me, I don't think America actually cares about Jewish issues. I think Jewish people are being used, you know what I'm saying, in this holy war, right? Because they no longer can just flat out attack. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're attacking you in the name of Christianity. Like, in modern times, like, that can't really happen, right? You know what I'm saying? They tried it, but they can't. But what can they do? They can say, well, hey, Jewish people have this access to this land using, like, biblical things. So let's just talk about like the insanity of like using a religious text to justify claim the land. They would never allow that shit to happen in any other context, right? But they're doing that under this Zionist issue that like somehow they have access to this land. And what they really want is their own access to the land. Right, you know what I'm saying? So, but they're using Jews and planting them there, and actually, I feel like it's putting Jews in greater danger, right? Because you're displacing all these people. You know, you're really upsetting the Middle Eastern thing, which is what you wanted from the beginning. Remember, the goal of the Crusades was to have access, and now using Zionist things, using all the war proxies, and installing Israel there actually accomplishes that. But they still are not fully successful because they just expected, I guess, the people that live there just to give up. You know what I'm saying? Like just to lay down. I mean, think about it. That's what they're doing with Iran right now. You bombed all their shit, you know what I'm saying? And you just expect them just to say, okay, it's over. But like the Middle East has never given up. Like they've never not responded. And that's like the big beef at the moment, that they're actually defending themselves at every turn to constant European aggression. And I feel like everyone thinks that Jewish people have a right to exist, right? Everyone thinks Jewish people have the right to exist. But the issue is how Israel was created, right? It's how Israel was created. No addressing the people that you kicked out, no giving reparations, no acknowledging the refugee crisis you created amongst all the other people, no acknowledgement that you placed a fucking military there and gave them nukes. Like, that's a big reason to be angry. It's a big reason to be angry, but we don't even acknowledge that as at all. It's just like, that keeps us in danger. Like, and I'm sick of being used as this proxy for European white greed into the Middle East. Like, that's what this is all about. And now we could be victim of like terrorist attacks because of this almost like 1,000-year obsession with the Middle East and taking it over. And we are now like, they're the enemy because they want to defend themselves. Now, I'm not saying that all the tactics they have to do to defend themselves are great. Like, no one likes terrorism, but it's like, I'm sorry. Like, we have to look at the original sin. Like, maybe to them, we are terrorists. To them, we are terrorists. And I just don't want our blood, sweat, and tears to go for this, like, literally thing where it's like there's a righteous right to defend themselves, right? And it doesn't have anything to do with anti-Semitism, I don't believe. Like, I feel like they're being used. Like, look at what Trump is doing and what MAGA's doing in the university system. Like, they're using, and remind yourselves, like, they're the party of Jews will not replace us, right? They're the party of the KKK as a religious organization, right? They have no history of where they actually protect Jewish people and black and brown people. But yet, they're using this to kick everyone else out of campuses, mostly brown people, mostly Muslim people, right? They're using this as the shut down international students. They're using this as the shut down university dollars and any university that would, in grants that help cancer research and child research. Like, they're doing this as a weapon. And they're cloaking it and saying they're protecting Jewish people, but they're not. They're just getting their agenda across. Like, and this is what's happening across the board. It's all about the white supremacist agenda. And they use anything to accomplish it. And the more righteous it is, before it was spreading Christianity and God's word, now it's somehow protecting Jews. And the next thing will be anything. But it's all a manipulation. And it's all about violence and blood sport. And we should not be allowing this to happen. There is a comfortable space with protecting the Jewish people, protecting their right to exist, and protecting Muslims too. Why do those two things have to be divergent? They are because of this fucking modern holy war that is only solely based about white greed in the expansion of manifest destiny. Look that shit up. It is rude, it is wrong, it is evil, it is vile, and just because it has changed its face and evolved doesn't mean it's any more right. And there's no way that you can say that someone that is voicing these views is an anti-Semite. That's not true. Anti-Semitism is birthed in fucking the Manifest Destiny European white supremacist movement. It's just crazy to me. Sorry this video was longer, but until next time.